Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 30th of January. So let's have a look at these markets then, and firstly what's happening today in terms of news. Well, we've already seen some news out there. We've had the Australian retail sales come in quite a bit less than expected, minus 2.7 versus minus 1.7. That's not a good figure to be seeing there, but obviously that'll give the boost to the Australian dollar as we see in the moment. It shouldn't do. We've had a bit of French GDP, etc., coming out month on month, slightly up, better than expected, but it shouldn't, doesn't really affect the markets too much individually on the euro there. Today then, got German GDP coming out. It's the flash data, so we might see a bit of volatility at 9 o'clock then on that basis. It's one that's been struggling. We've got a couple of ECB speakers at 9 o'clock as well, just to ensure that there's some volatility. Now we've got to wait a bit before we see the next ECB meeting, so they can say all they like. We've got the UK mortgage not interested in that. Eurozone GDP as a whole at 10 then. Okay, so we've got a few. Swiss National Bank, Jordan speaking, so it's just governor there speaking. Just working out where there's a few speakers. It's a lot of lower keys, lots of earnings today, of course. So Microsoft, General Motors, good old Google, Alphabet. So there we are. So there are some key speakers which can drive the equity markets up or down. So let's have a look, and particularly the Nasdaq there, if there's a few technicals involved. Right. So looking at the euro dollar first, and it's drifting, drifting with. Okay, each day is getting a little bit smaller by the looks of things, but it's drifting, and we have a trend. An ugly trend when you look at it on the 4-hourly. It did yesterday come back into, I say yesterday, it's Friday, it came back into the underside of its quarterly pivot there. Looking softish. Got to be careful with this in case it switches back this morning, but it has got the clear lower highs coming through, lower lows coming through. So at the moment it's trend wise certainly on the downside. So whether or not there's an option to get into this today. The pound is, to me, untradeable at the moment, so it's just gone really. It's sitting in this channel, and it's quite ugly in terms of what it's doing. So I'll leave that alone. US dollar yen it's softening here. If anything, I would expect it'd be more expected for it to push up there, but it's softening. The dollar's softening against the yen here. The yen's getting its way a little bit more and shifting down slowly. I'd be so glad when it gets out of this consolidated phase that it's sitting in there and gets back into a trend, which just got to be patient at the moment. This might be the start of the trend that we're seeing here. It's quite a mess though. In terms of what was happening, I liked the upward trend, and all things could change quite quickly come Wednesday evening when the Fed meet or discuss their ideas. Australian dollar, it has had a little blip up here this morning, despite the retail sales data, and it's run just broken its prior high there, maybe taking some orders out. We'll see what happens. It's, again, to me, it's a bit of a coin flip. I think, and I've talked about this a lot, in terms of where it's been resting, it's got a better chance of actually pushing to the upside in terms of the way it's sitting here. There's a lot of time you look at consolidation, expect it to continue in the mode, but it's when you see it's actually come away from the lows there, perhaps I just don't like it. It's one of those sort of low probabilities. US dollar CAD. Now I was looking at this on the sell side. Now it has I've got, you can see there's a little indicator, a little alert set on there. That dotted line is my alert. Just wait and see if this breaks down. If we are seeing these currencies roll back, what I'm looking at, sorry, come back to the upper time frame here, looking for it's broken through its yearly pivot now, and it's done the double top, etc. It's broken the low between the two tops, and well, looking for a move to the downside. So just waiting patiently. It's broken the prior, as I say, prior lows there. So it's a bit of a patience move here this morning. See if it starts rolling over with an idea of a swing. So I won't put the stop too tight on this. It needs to be maybe up into this area above its monthly pivot, current monthly pivot, weekly pivot even. Get the right one. All these pivots, New Zealand dollar. This isn't going the right direction for me. I'm short on the New Zealand dollar from the 16th. It's well, it's bouncing for whatever reason. It seems to be bouncing. It has got some resistance here in the shape of its quarterly pivot. Thank goodness for pivots, which might just hold it. We'll see if it breaks out. Well, it's not looking so good. I mean, on the short time frame here, it's got higher lows, higher highs in the short time frame. Why it's doing so well, goodness knows. But anyway, it is doing well or better. I mentioned the Aussie dollar's price action, away it to sort of come down to the low and then consolidated away from it. Well, this has done the same sort of thing. We see it better on the 4-hourly here. There we go. So it come down to the low and bounce, and then it's consolidated away from it, and it is pushing to the upside. As I said, it's a risky old move when it starts doing this. Gone a bit ugly. Dollar Swissy was looking at this, and this might still roll as well. If we are going to see some dollar weakness, well, there's a couple of opportunities. There is, of course, a couple of risks. One of them is the Fed meeting tomorrow, but this is looking like, again, I've got an alert set up on that. It's come back to the dailies here. It's run into this whole confluence of resistance, and it's looking quite softish where it is there. So it's whether it can pull off some more. If it breaks these prior lows, then it's given us a confirmed lower high and looking softer. How far will it run is, of course, a question some people may be asking. Well, the monthly pivots down there, I think it would possibly, if it's going to get into a bit of a run here, it's got the chance back down to the bodies, even the previous bodies of those bars down here, but we'll see. So it'd be a trailing stop for me on this if it starts running. Okay, so just coming down the time frames here, not quite caught the daily pivot today, but within a whisker. We'll see what happens post 8 o'clock and give it sort of 20-30 minutes after 8 o'clock. Don't want to chase it, just in case it drags me in. The euro as a whole isn't looking that strong against some of its peers, and here's the euro yen. I think I've got a bit of an old alert sitting on there. I'm trying to remember what that alert was there for now. I've popped it on there for some reason. Anyway, it's putting in a decent sort of intermediate trend here. Lower highs, lower lows. It's looking soft. Might find a bit of support off of the 500 that's sitting there and my alert. It's weird how my alerts quite often give support. I'm scratching my head to remember why I had that on there. It may have been, no, it wouldn't have been the other way. It might have been something off the lower time frames I was looking for at the time. But anyway, lower highs kicking through. It is tracking day basis. Recently it's been chopping along and then just sort of getting a bit of a drift, chopping along and a bit of a drift. So it's an ugly chart in terms of from a technical or analyst's point of view, but yeah, it's doing what it's doing. It's trickling down there. So as I said, it's more of a swing trade anyway, or would have been. I think we missed the best opportunities for it for now. Right, I'm going to leave the currencies there. There's a link on the videos underneath the YouTube video. If you want to join me about 8:35 back in the room, you can do. Just use the link, Zoom link. Right, let's look at the price of gold. It's getting a bit of a bit of a bonus here, a little bit of a move to the upside now. Unrest in the Middle East, etc., can be a reason why we're seeing, or should be seeing, maybe even a bit of safety, a bit of defence going on. This has put a higher low in. It's as ugly as sin. Horrible day yesterday. I just can't bring myself to even look to trade it at the moment. Maybe it will sort itself out and become a bit more tradable again. Talking about untradeable, it was looking quite nice in terms of what it's done on this intermediate time frame. Oil, higher lows, higher highs. As I said, there is the risk because fundamentally there's a lot of it. Geopolitically, there's a possible storm to be had, and it sort of sits in between them, and that's probably the reason we're not seeing the sort of moves that you might have expected when you see these high lows coming through, etc. If we fundamentally, if the stocks and the output was being pushed, well, we'd probably see this flying along, but it's just not. I mean, the 2 o'clock bar, where you gone? That's 12, 1, 2, there we are. The 2 o'clock bar was actually running against the trend there when I looked at it. So consolidating where we are, I can see an ugly head and shoulder pattern here. Okay, of course, a break of the lows here is the lower high, and well, maybe it'll correct later, but some things are better left alone sometimes for me. I just stay out of them. What's going on with the daily S&P? Thank you. Okay, daily S&P's up, it's going quite nicely, continuing in that road. I did say a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago, we're seeing these shooting stars, etc. Yep, it looks weak, but don't short it. Well, here's the reason why. It's just, to me, it's got more upside potential than downside potential at the moment, and those retracements are buying opportunities if you can catch one, but goodness, when you come down to the hourlies, it's an ugly scene. But with earnings coming out today, that could be an even uglier scene at times. So there's the risk, of course, and the Nasdaq, same risk there. Some big hitters at coming out and earnings reports. So trader beware. Okay, looking at the DAX continuing its run up here. Then, as I said, it broke out that descending channel, and it's heading up towards that monthly R1, slowly but boldly. The FTSE, well, FTSE, what's going on here? It's chasing me too, chasing it, but with oil off, it's probably not helping some of the stocks in it. But yeah. It's the ugly, really ugly old thing. I mean, it started and it's got into a trend. It's put the higher lows in there, pushed up, got a nice move in there, and arguably it's still trending upwards on the intermediate time frames here, and dailies, and even the 4 hourlies. I mean, this could well switch back. It's just not a pretty sight, is it? But ugly's good if it's going in your direction, eh? Right, on that note, I will leave it there. I'll catch you later. As I say, there's a link in the bottom there if you want to join me at 8:35ish and from the YouTubers. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now. There we go. Let's got rid of them.